With so many ship manufacturers in Star Citizen, it can be confusing to remember which ship belongs to which company, and which companies might be due for a new release soon. In this video, I'm going to explain why I think one of the next ships announced will be from Consolidated Outlands, and hopefully by the end, you'll either have some better insight on the matter or foster a renewed hatred for my ignorance. Thanks for coming to this Tomato Talk. First, let's start with the obvious. A new ship is indeed coming to Star Citizen. Yes, everybody is so excited. And no, this is not because funding is decreasing. Actually, the opposite is happening. No, this is because Star Citizen needs to continue making consistent progress on filling the two games they are working on with useful ships. We haven't seen any new ships this year, and there are still plenty of holes in the range of announced ships in terms of effectiveness. Now, we know the company has been working on many ships without our knowledge, partially because they want to get away from selling concepts and start selling straight to flyable ships, and partially because there need to be more surprises left. But one of these ships has been making some appearances in our monthly reports. In March, we learned that work on an unannounced ship continued too. And just recently in April, we were told that an as yet unseen ship completed the white box stage and will be headed into gray box soon. Are these necessarily the same ship they're talking about? Well, no, but there's a decent chance. Regardless, we know there are ships that are being worked on, and we haven't seen a new ship since the Crusader Ares concept was introduced more than 5 months ago. Well, okay, Tomato, sure, maybe we'll see 1 or 2 ships in the next few months, but why would they be from Consolidated Outland? I'm glad you asked, friend. Let's take a look at the current list of announced ships versus released ships. Here is a convenient chart from Colonial Movers on Twitter. Looking at this chart, we can count a total of 111 unique ships and variants. This only includes the major manufacturers. I'm not taking into account Tumbrel, Aopoa, Kruger, or the alien companies. Now, taking the data that I so haphazardly gleaned from this chart, we see that there are 75 released ships and variants between these companies and 36 announced. Here's the breakdown between the various companies. Now, the 3 companies which stand out amongst all of these numbers are Argo, Crusader, and Consolidated Outland. Crusader has 2 unique ships which we know are currently being worked on, not to mention variants, so we can excuse them. Argo has 1 announced ship with 3 releases, one of those being a variant. However, Argo just had a release, so I think we might wait a bit for their next vehicle. Consolidated Outland has 1 announced ship and 5 released ships. 4 of those releases are variants of the Mustang. And the announced ship is the base building Pioneer, which we know is probably quite a ways off. Consolidated Outland is due for a new release. Their last was back in November of 2018, and that was a rework of the existing Mustang. Now, we know that CIG has existent concepts for Consolidated Outland ships. Take a look at this video from a couple of years ago.
Just to give it some pop. The other thing that Consolidated Outland tends to do is they'll tend to have asymmetrical ships. The Mustang isn't one of those, but their larger ships tend to be asymmetrical, and they also tend to have little sort of like boom antennas that are sticking out with detail off in the distance, and they'll tend to have that in different directions, which makes them look very, very different than Aegis or Anvil. Some of their spaceships, and you'll notice this on the Pioneer, it almost looks like it can be a space station, right? It's not your typical spaceship-looking vehicle.
The design language of the company sounds very interesting, and it sounds like they tend to focus on larger ships than the Mustang. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a mid-sized ship, maybe around the size of the Aegis Vulcan or the RSI Constellation. Would this be a profession-specific ship? Maybe a ship that specializes in being able to move around cargo? An all-rounder like the Connie, or a small dedicated repair ship mirroring the Vulture. With the ability for players to trade currency with one another and in the future other items, we might see a new ship that takes advantage of some of that functionality. While this is all speculation, I think there are some valid reasons to believe a new Consolidated Outland ship is coming. But with the near-term future of Star Citizen development in flux, it is really difficult to theorize what that ship could be meant for. But in my opinion, if not the next ship, I think we can expect something from Consolidated Outland this year. Thanks for listening to me ramble about this topic, and consider joining my Discord to discuss this further with me. And subscribe to Space Tomato for more Star Citizen videos.